Okay, so you're going to need to take a large pot, and these are, today we're just doing dry beans, but these are lima beans, and I have sorted them, and by sorting them you want to make sure that you look them real closely, make sure there are no stones in there. Anytime you have these, they're usually going to come in a bag, so you're going to want to go through that bag and take out only the beans. You don't want to have anything but beans in here. You don't want to have any stones in there, because that will break your teeth, not good for your digestive system, etc. Okay, so this is about, I guess, 3/4 of a bag of the beans, because I usually save a few over for planting when I have these, and I like to keep a few seeds on hand. So I'm going to cover these with water, and you want to get about 2 inches above the level where the beans are, because these beans are going to soak and they're going to get a lot bigger when we do this. So I'm going to turn my stove up to high and bring this up to a boil, and I'll be back in a second. And a note, do not salt the water. You do not want to add salt to the water. You want these to cook without the salt in them, and then let the salt be the last thing that you add. If you want to add butter or anything like that while they're cooking, you can do that, but salt's going to tear their skins, and then you're going to have mushy beans, and that's not what you want. So now the beans have started to boil, so I'm going to set a timer. This timer is going to be for 5 minutes. And we'll come back in 5 minutes. So my timer's going off, and if it doesn't fog the camera up, so what I'm going to do now is we're just going to turn this off. And we're going to, these beans, they've cooked for 5 minutes now. And you see they're starting to get a little bit bigger. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a tight fitting cover on top, and we're going to let these sit for about an hour. And if you need a reminder, do what I do, set a timer. So the beans have soaked for an hour now. Turn this timer off. And as you can see, this is what they're going to look like. And they look like they may be done now, but they're not. They're still very, very raw in the middle. So what we're going to do is just turn them back up on high, and we're going to bring this to a boil. After it comes back to a boil, you need to reduce the heat to medium. And I don't know if I'm going to film that or not. If I don't, reduce them to about medium heat after they come to a boil, and we're going to let them cook for an hour and a half. Okay, so now these beans have returned to a boil, and they are not done. You can hear them if you, sorry, I didn't mean to steam up the camera, but you can actually hear them, feel them moving in there. They've got a, almost feels like you got marbles in water whenever you're stirring through this. That's the consistency you're going to feel on the spoon when you're doing it. So they're nowhere near done. They need to cook for about an hour and a half. You don't want to add salt at this point. You want to make sure the beans are done before you do that. So now they're back to a boil. I'm going to turn this down to medium, and I'm going to let these cook. You want to keep a boil like this right here covered, just a little boil going on. You want the water moving, but you don't want to have a big foam head on it. And let these cook for about another hour and a half, and then we will come back and look at them, and I'll show you what they're like when they're finished. So now these beans have cooked for an hour and a half, and I've turned them down. And as you can see, we have a kind of a soupy, but the color's changed, and there's no noise when you stir them, except for the water. And that's what you're looking for with these whenever you get them done. I don't want to fog the camera over, so I turn them down for a little bit. And as as you can see, these are perfect to eat. Now, there are several different types of dry beans. There's pinto beans, kidney beans, lentils. There are all sorts. Some of them you soak, some you don't have to. But whatever you decide to do with these, you can do the quick soak I showed you in this video, and then transfer them to a crock pot and let them cook all day if you want to. And you can cook these longer than an hour and a half. You don't have to stop at an hour and a half. But the key is to make sure that you cook them the way that you like them. So if you like them really done, cook them longer. If you don't like them as done, then don't cook them as long. And now is the time for you to add the salt. You want to add salt to them. So add a little salt in here. Give them a stir, and of course you can adjust this to whatever level you like. If you want pepper, add pepper. But the main thing is with these beans, you want to make sure that you keep them whole as much as possible, unless you want to have a mushy bean. And if you want a mushy, you can cook them to death if you want to, or you can just put the salt in at the beginning. In an hour and a half, you're going to have mush. Either way you want to do it. But this is the way that I like them. I like them cooked to where they're nice and tender, and they have some soup with it. And if you want some cornbread, maybe some cornbread, I've got a video I'll attach at the end of this so that you can see that recipe if you haven't. And I hope you've enjoyed this and that it inspires you to cook some beans. Have a great day.